feels like the draft. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft, draft, draft. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. It feels like the draft, 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 draft. It's everyone's favorite theme song. It is Tuesday, so that means it's another edition of DraftBeat on Miami Heat Beat. But of course, it can never be DraftBeat if it wasn't for these two guys right here.
One day.
Here. Eventually. I'm telling you, I got like 3 more weeks to get it right. Let's go over to the co-founder of DraftBeat as well as StreamBeat podcast, my good friend, Mr. Franky Chi. I'm sorry, I started reading Get Chuck Edmonton and I messed up your name. Franky Chi, what's up? Hey, say hello.
Panthers in 6.
Panthers in 6. I hope so. Let's see. We're all rooting for the Ice Cats. Rare. They played amazing last night, 6-1. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about drafts and guards. And the man that's most excited to get into it is Mr. Saucy Takes, Coach Lou. Coach, how are you feeling? I know this is the episode that you've been most looking forward to.
Yes, this is the episode of this is my favorite episode this year. I'll be honest. So, because it's it's the one we're on. Next week it's going to be that one, and it's just going to be great all the time, baby. But we here to talk guards.
I like it. Let's just go straight into it. Before we get into it, though, which is already going off the beaten path, I said let's get straight into it, and immediately I'm breaking it up. But Franky G's reminding me that we want to get to questions at the end of this. Even if it's just YouTube comments, we're going to always be searching for our favorites. Franky's working on a list, and at the end of every episode, we want to address any and every question that we can get to. So please send in your questions. Lou and I will be monitoring the chat, Franky as well, and I promise we will get to it, as well as the YouTube comments and posts and all that. Franky, is there anything else before we get into our guards?
Carla Tiana is questioning if we're her favorite people. So
yeah, of course.
Everyone
that tunes into DraftBeat is my favorite people. So literally all 19 of us, we are fucking rocking right now. Franky, let's get to this graphic. I don't know what it is, but you say we have a graphic, and I'm excited to see it.
We have a graphic via MCF NBA. Great follow on Twitter. He charted points created per game plus the assist to turnover ratio for draft prospects and in college. So you see here Kam Jones leading the league all of college with 36.8 points created per game. That's assists, points scored, all included. And
wow,
see their assist to turnover ratio below.
Franky.
So we'll be talking about 2 of these guys today in Kam Jones, and you see Walter Clayton Jr. at the second to last spot here in the top 10. And next week we will be talking about Nick Clifford. So you see the versatility at display that potentially could be at the 20 spot.
Look at that. Look at Franky G producing. That's my guy right there, the executive producer. And I like that he started off with the graphic that features Kam Jones because, like I said, we're going to be talking guards. And our first one is Mr. Kam Jones. So let's get straight into it, Franky. Let's go with the 6'4 junior out of Marquette. That's right, Marquette. We know him very well down here in Miami. Shout out D Wade. He's a lefty scorer with a nice pull-up, handle. I don't know why. Sorry, my screen just went. Off-ball weapon, crafty footwork, okay? I got a couple nuggets for you here that I'm really excited about. So he's a 2-year starter under Shaka Smart, career 38% from 3, okay? 84% free throw. That means that he has got a very nice shot to work with moving forward. High school teammate of Kennedy Chandler, and my favorite one of them all, his pregame hype song is Boogie Wonderland by Earth, Wind & Fire. Franky, what do you think of Mr. Kam Jones?
I am not surprised that his intro song is Boogie Wonderland because this guy is groovy and funky.
Ooh, I like
He is definitely a below the rim finisher. He didn't record a single dunk this year, but you see he was a 2-guard last season when he played with Tyler Kolek, the first round draft pick of the Knicks last year, who we talked about on DraftBeat. This year he was tasked to play the 1, and doing so, he did so very beautifully. His assist percentage jumped 21.4%. His turnover percentage jumped 0.4. Let me put that in perspective. 49 turnovers last year as a 2-guard. He had 63 as a point guard. And his assist went from 87 to 200.
Listen, I love that. That's amazing. But just for those of us, explain that to me as if I was a 5-year-old.
It means he was a good shooting guard at taking care of the ball, and he became an elite assist to turnover guy.
Got it.
His rim finishing is very crafty. He likes to use bumps, floaters. You'll see him use the pivot foot very well, knows how to use angles, finds cutters, finds shooters on the weak side. He's a walking paint touch. He can play on or off the ball. And he actually recorded the first triple-double in Marquette since Dwayne Tyrone Wade Jr.
Ooh, that's a nice little nugget. Lou, we've seen Marquette obviously be a favorite for the Heat. At 20, does that feel like a realistic landing spot for Kam Jones? And where is he relative to your big board in terms of his draft range?
I like Kam Jones. He has a lot of things to like in terms of the pace he plays with, how crafty, like Franky said, he's really crafty. 85th percentile in pick and roll this year as a scorer. And he was in the top 1% in pick and rolls ran. So like it, not only like we have a large sample size of him doing this. With that being said, he is 23, about to be 23 and a half when the season rolls around. So
that should move him up the Heat's big board.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll do it for mine, but just the reason. Well, I'm not too high on him at 20, and the reason for that is he is a poor athlete, like extremely poor athlete. Like he got by with his craftiness. Granted, if he didn't have that, I don't think he would be getting talked about this highly. But we're talking like historically bad numbers. He posted the lowest vert in the combine this year for any point guard or shooting guard at 31.5 inches vert, 24.5 standing vert. Like the guy can't jump. Franky said he has no dunks this year. He has 3 career dunks in 4 years of college.
Do you feel he's someone that has somewhat already tapped his full potential?
Yes, that's the concern, right? The concern isn't just per se like
agrees.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, number 1 fan over there. But the concern isn't just that he's tapped his full potential. To me, the concern is, he got to show off so much because he was very high usage this year, yet again, and he did excel in his role. So, like, congrats to him for that. But we're not here to rank the best college or who's the best right now. This is a long-term view, in my opinion. It should be at least. So, if that's the case, that's why he might be, for me, out of the guards on the outside looking in. Just a little bit too many questions. Like this guy tested in the same, like I literally could not find a single point guard that put up his agility numbers that's been in the league for a while. Like I think the closest thing was Jarrett Jack. And other than that, it's been guys who were like play less than 50 games. So it's concerning the level of athleticism. Is that what you want from your lead point guard in a team that struggles with having athletes? Might not be the best fit, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say for all of us, he's a guy that we like, don't love, but especially at 20, it would be a little bit difficult to digest. With that being said, we will be moving on to the next one, but we want to remind everybody about questions. If you have any, throw them in the chat, leave them in the comments, and we will get to them later. But Lou, I'm excited to get to this next guy because he is getting a lot of buzz on Twitter amongst the Heat fans. He seems to be gaining steam as like a popular name for them. We're going to go over to France with the 6'3", 175 pound point guard, Nolan Trayore. All right, he's an explosive guard, okay? He's got elite tempo, pick and roll maestro, and he's got a real good feel for the game. Defensively, he's a little bit inconsistent, but he is special in transition. Here's what he does have. Elite explosive speed, okay? Youngest of these bunch, the people that we're going to talk about today, he's only 19. He won the MVP at Adidas Next Generation tourney, and he wears mismatched socks for good energy. So I like that.
I love the fun facts.
So I like that a lot. Yeah.
Give it up for Moose for having a legendary performance right here.
Well, thank you. I got to get some stuff for us. So, Lou, outside of the good energy socks, which for me, honestly, bumps him up.
2 spots minimum.
Yeah, exactly. What is it most about Nolan that excites you? Because I'll be honest, he's someone that I've really just started watching probably like 2 weeks ago.
So the best, when you're picking at 20, you're getting guys with a lot of deficiencies, but you're trying to find guys who have elite skills. Nolan Traore's elite skill, like one of the best in the whole class, is his speed and his acceleration. His ability to consistently put pressure on the rim in terms of, drawing attention, and just everybody has to be, when he has the ball in his hands and he's coming off a screen, in an instant, he is already in the paint. He's super explosive in terms of first step and horizontal explosiveness. Not such a vertical threat, but still puts a lot of pressure on the rim, gets there, decent free throw rate. Not just that, right? He is really good in pick and roll too. He's a very, very, I think out of the guys we're talking about today, I think he might be the best passer. Let me just confirm in my head. Might be 1 or 2, but he is a really, really good passer. And it displays, he controls. One thing you look for in point guards is not just the assist numbers. I don't give a shit about assist numbers, is how often can he control pace and can he control defenders with his eyes? And he does both of those things at a very, very, very good level. Is he going to be ready right away? Probably not. There are concerns. His jump shot isn't the best. But
that for me is the main concern. And, he does a lot well for 19 years old. Franky, how do you feel? I mean, Lou made a great point. At 20, you have to bank on the skill sets that he does do well. But that jump shot, is it enough concern for you that you are pausing at 20?
No, definitely not enough of a concern. I think this is a big upside pick. He might be a guy that they have to play off the bench first and slowly gets better and stuff, but I don't mind that, especially at 20. He you see the form here. It's not broken. It's not like a hitch or anything. I think he just needs reps. He's improved a lot. Somebody in the chat was talking about Mummy's Milk 14 in the chat saying his numbers have been skewed by an early season slump. He's 18 years old. I think he's just turned 19, I believe.
Just turned 19. Yeah.
And the measurables are all there. Everything, as far as a lead guard, as a guy who could be your franchise point guard. There's a chance and there's a world where he's that. Like you said, the shot needs work. And that concerns me about his off ball game. How much, can he play that, especially early on? He's skinny. He's 175. So, but I trust the measurables. I trust the speed, the skill set. I don't think the touch is bad. I don't think it's a Winslow situation where we're just begging for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot to like here, and then I would be totally fine.
Yeah. Just some quick tidbits, because I think it's very interesting to look at his jump shot. First of all, he shot 47% on open looks from 3. So I don't think it's a matter of,
that sounds nice. I like that.
His jump, when he has time to set up, his jumper is nice. The issue is his jumper is a bit slower. So him getting those looks off, considering coupled with his size, when there's closeouts, he rushes it, and his just his base and basically his entire motion gets a little bit sent out of whack. He wasn't a good pull-up shooter either, but he attempted a lot of them, in an egregious amount. So it's something that he probably feels comfortable with in terms of taking. And one last thing I wanted to say about him is, while he's not the best finisher, I think some of that will get fixed in the league. And the biggest reason for that is spacing. Well, maybe not in Miami, Jesus Christ. Who knows? But
I was going to say, you're getting a little bit ahead of yourself, but
ideally, So, you pointed out in the Adidas game, he was the MVP.
Yeah.
In that Adidas game, he was playing with prospects who can all space the floor. And he was playing at an NBA pace, like NBA tempoed game. It's an Adidas game. It's played here. He played against Cooper Flag. He played with AJ Denbosta, against Ace Bailey. Like Dylan Harper was there, against all these guys. And he stood out in that game. There's a reason he's getting talked about here at 20 in terms of like the fall off. He struggled early in the season. His true shooting percentage isn't great.
Mm-hmm.
But if anybody, and I'm not making the comparison, but true shooting percentage for guards who play overseas is going to be lower anyways because they're playing against grown men.
Yeah.
LaMelo Ball got drafted 3rd, and I think his true shooting percentage was less than 45%. Like, it was horrible.
No,
and, offensively, he's been pretty good. So
that's a great point. I not to like just get ahead of myself here. This is a prospect that I very much like. I keep saying that I want to, outkick our coverage, get someone that years later we could say, damn, how did he fall to 20? So this very much fits that bucket. I'm not saying he's a similar player, but it's more of a similar hesitation that I had. I remember Tyrese Maxey when he was coming out. I kind of had similar reservations where I was like, I'm not sure if the rest of his offensive skill set is going to fill out, but what he does have is elite speed. And I think maybe my biggest regret now was getting that one wrong. So with Nolan here, to lose point, I'm willing to bet on one elite offensive skill set or elite skill set in general at 20. Beggars can't be choosers here. So you guys are getting me excited here. It's just you never know with international prospects. But he's playing against grown men. I think you're talking me into the pick in real time.
Yeah,
I think that's really what's happening.
I also just want to add that like he's improving. I think one of the best and most important things is when talking about young prospects playing professionally overseas, they improve throughout the season. Like if you hit your early struggles, that's fine. That's to be expected. But improving and adjusting, that's where I want to see it. And like you see, he doesn't just use his speed. He uses his passing, his change of pace. He's got good control of the game, and that's what you really want. Like he's more of like he's closer to like a prototypical point guard, like old school floor general, than like a modern day guy. But I think there's still a lot to like and a lot to pull out. And we're not saying he's a bad finisher like Terry chat. Don't worry. But like we're talking about like he's for his expectations that he should be a better finisher.
Just really quickly, Lou, before we move off of this guy, we're saying that he's got great speed. We're saying that he could develop his offense, but we know how the Heat are. If you don't play defense, you will not play. Will he play?
He might not, guys. That's the concern. That's the concern. His defense leaves a lot to be desired. Like, like we're going to be honest. I'm going to give it to you raw, man. Pause. But they're going to realistically, he really struggles just staying in front of guys. Like as good as he is agility wise, it's just a little bit, you like him to contain the ball a little bit more. Obviously he's going to get he gets mismatch hunted very hard in France just because he is 175, hopefully he can go in here and gain some weight and, chisel himself up a little bit so he can be able to guard and not get as mismatch hunted. But I'm not sure that that's going to ever be the case. So we're taking somebody with some downsides. You're just hoping that the offense can hit to the level that, and he could just survive. Because off the, in rotation, he's got really good hands. He has a 6'8" wingspan. He has some things you can work with, right? It's just his awareness, where to be, the defensive feel. Some of those things might be a little bit off. But other than that, I still think you've got to take a flyer on him if he's there at 20. Or he's got to be contention at least. Right.
No, I think he's absolutely on the short list of guys that you're, looking at 20. I think he has to be. When we're going to harp on this nonstop, there's not a perfect prospect at 20. So you have to just bank on the skill sets that are there. And his speed is elite. It's there. That's something you can't teach. So yes, at 20, Nolan Trayore from France is an option, but let's go into our next guy that we're going to talk about. Very polarizing prospect, especially if selected at 20, but someone that I think the Miami Heat would really, really love and could very much fit the culture. We're talking about the 6'2 junior out of Florida, Mr. Walter Clayton Jr. Everybody knows him. Pure shooter, clean mechanics, okay? Quick trigger with deep range. Everybody will tell you probably the purest IQ, smartest point guard in the draft. Like he's a gamer. He's ready to go. 92% from the free throw line. D2 football quarterback offer coming out of high school, which leads me to my next point. He always warms up with a football because it says that he helps with his vision. Yeah. So, Frankie, how would you feel about Mr. Walter Clayton Jr., the quarterback at number 20?
Well, first off, to talk about Walter Clayton, you have to mention the jump shot. It is elite, like you said. We have a sample size because he's a senior. He's 22 years old already. 809 threes taken in college career, 38.6% shooter. A lot of big time shots, as you can see here, in doing so in the Final Four.
He's clutch.
He's super clutch. 87.9 career free throw percentage. Transition passing, good athletes, composure. He leverages his shooting to get to the rim and get shots for his teammates. He like offensively, I think it's like a hand in glove fit to like what the Heat want to do. He makes good decisions for the most part. He off the dribble, his jumpers, he was in 89th percentile at the rim, 60% at the rim, 76% unassisted. He was one of 4 players nationally with more than 130 rim attempts and 250 3-point attempts. His advanced analytics and a lot of his stats compare favorably to guys like Kobe White, Peyton Pritchard, who are productive scoring guards in the league. Like there's a lot to like here, and like there is a world where this guy pops and fits very well in the league. Defensively, a lot to be desired for a senior. I want to specify, we don't know how much of this is because of role in situation where he's allowed to take a break because he was asked to do so much offensively in Florida. But man, like sometimes like it was a lot of point and switch. It was a lot of cover for me, a lot of falling asleep, late closeout, bad closeouts. It's like a one-way player for the most part. He had the big stop at the end to win the championship. So like some people who haven't watched him like think he's like this.
They think
guy.
He's Kyle Lowry. Yeah.
But you see like everything about his offensive game. Like I think it fits hand in glove.
Lou, is it as simple? I mean, granted, yes, the defense needs a lot of work, but this guy does so much at such a advanced level. Is it as simple as if he was just a little bit bigger, he'd be a much more talked about prospect, and maybe a little bit younger too, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if he was 6'5", this is the pick, right? The reason we're talking about, you know, as great of a shooter as he is, the reason we're talking about him here is there are size concerns. Like, you know, he is smaller in terms of just length on the floor, 6'2", I think, with like a 6'4" wingspan.
Yep.
Sub 9 foot standing reach.
And that's 6'2" barefoot. Like we're talking about height.
Yeah.
Barefoot,
so he's 6'3" with shoes on, which is not a horrible height, but it's really the limitations are his wingspan. And, you know, where does that affect them the most? His finishing. Several games, I think just about every game I watched from him, it was so tough to see him score over length. I think I tracked like in 4 games, I think he went to the rim maybe 12 times. I think he hit 1 layup over length, like over NBA quality length. Like I'm not talking about some fucking D2 school. Like I'm talking an actual somebody on the other team who's on a top 25 team. He really struggled. It's concerning because, you know, typically with these, his shooting is going to open up so much for him. But guards that are so limited lengthwise, and he's not the burstiest, can get to the point where, you know, he can overcome or improve on that. I don't know if that's the case. So then when a guard doesn't, you know, because to start it off with, he only got to the rim 22%, like 22% of the time, percentile wise. Like it wasn't a lot. right?
That's
he's
not good.
Yeah, it's the lowest out of all these guards by a margin, out of all 5 guards we're going to talk about today, right? So he's somebody who lives, and to be honest, in college, he fucking lived off of the jump shot. If that translates, he's a tough shot maker. If that translates, you should be good. My issue is when that shot is not falling, can he do enough to stay on the floor? Personally, I have questions because while yes, this was his first year playing full-time point guard, by the way. When he was in Iona for 2 years, he was like a score first guard, even though he still was this year, but he didn't handle the reins. Last year, he was also a score first guard because their point guard was Zion Pullen, who we brought in and almost gave a two-way to for some reason. But this was his first year with the actual reins. You can see he's still learning the position in half court. The size really hampers him to be able to hit cross-court skips or to be able to hit the roller over somebody who's in like semi-drop. It really causes some trouble for him, but in transition, probably the closest player I have scouted this year to Kyle Lowry in terms of hit-ahead passes. He's great, like pushing pace. He does certain things to offset that. It's just, is it going to be enough? I don't know. And it's ironic because this year he took 195 pull-up threes. He hit him at a 37% clip. This dude was firing them off and he was making them. And previously, throughout his career, he had been a catch and shoot shooter for the last 2 years, shooting over 41% on catch and shoot threes, whether that's contested or open, it doesn't matter. He can hit it. So he has a role in the league. It's just how much effort is he going to give defensively? Some of these games, my goodness, it was awful. I don't know if Franky can attest to this, but he generally was getting picked on. He was just pointing, missing his guy. He almost cost him the whole UConn game.
We got enough of that already.
It's concerning. It's concerning. You know, like, it's not like he also forced turnovers. He had some moments where he, got up into the ball and was able to disrupt a little bit. It's how consistently can he do that? Because, I don't know. It's a tough sell for somebody like this.
This was the guy that you were taking in the first half of the second round, or even maybe with your second first round pick. But maybe at 20, Franky, anything else here before we move off of the Florida guard, Walter Clayton Jr.?
I think the question Lou had, like, if his shot's not falling, how could he help? I think he's a guy that's going to be defended like a shooter because of that. Yeah. Like, even if he's not going, so I do think that will help him. Like, I heard this comparison. I think it was Digital Adele on 5 Reasons, like a Patty Mills in San Antonio. I don't think that's a bad comparison at all. No. We saw Patty had to get a little feisty on defense, and I think Patty was a little faster.
Definitely,
100%.
Yeah, but like I think he needs a lot of defensive attention. That, like, he didn't measure the shortest out of these guys, but he has the shortest standing reach, which I value a lot for your more than height or wingspan. Overall, I want to know what's your standing reach, because that's going to determine a lot more than how tall you are. And he's like, we're going to talk about Jase, but Jase measures short, but he has longer arms, and he's has a higher standing reach than Walter Clayton by a full inch.
Oh, we will get to Jase, don't you worry. But yeah, Walter Clayton Jr., no me interese. Next. And that's my take on it. It's like, great shooter, so much fun to watch on offense. I loved him in the tournament and all that, but if that's what we're walking away with on draft night at 20 after the season we had, yep. But this next guy I'm a little bit higher on, and I was actually excited to get your guys' opinion on him. So let's go over to Israel for the 6'5", 187-pound point guard, Ben Saraf. He's poised. He's more of a combo guard, actually. Scoring feel is advanced, and he plays under control. Not exactly a bursty athlete, if you will, but he's creative, okay? He's got some craftiness to his game. Here's the little nuggets for you before we move on. He's averaged 16-plus points per game in Israel's top league at 18, where he was the youngest starter in league history. He shot 36% from 3 despite high difficulty. And my favorite is that he learned English from SpongeBob SquarePants. Lou, top that.
No, man, you can, bro. SpongeBob's a goat. But no, So talking about Ben Saraf, he's actually still playing. It's kind of obscene. He played
You
today.
guys were doing a live watch
Yeah.
along. I'm sorry, but tell me about the watch along today.
He was
What
bad
did you
today.
see? Oh,
He was
okay. Well then,
not many good things, but like let's talk about what he's really good at. Again, like controlling people with his eyes. Really good. Like him and Traore, two best passers out of everybody we're going to talk about today. Bar none. Like it's those two guys are on a different tier of playmaking.
I totally agree. I had him as the best passer in the draft.
Yeah. They're great. It helps. He's 6'6". His cross court skips, his live dribble skips to the weak side are fucking incredible. He puts it on a string, and it really helps. Like he's doing this right for a team that is in the semifinals for a championship right now. Like it's not like he's doing this on an irrelevant team and it doesn't translate to winning. He's playing minutes on a winning team. What is there to like about him besides his passing? He has one of the most interesting ways of like his D-cell package and just his layup creativity, his euros, the hops, the bumps, the fades, like it, it gives off Goran. Like there's no way to put it. Goran was a lot faster and more explosive, but just the way he creates space with the shoulder, again, the euro, the D-cell, he lets the guy go by while he's still slowing down with his second step. It's so much.
His footwork is exceptional.
Yeah, there's so much cadence to it, and he was a pretty decent pull-up mid-range shooter. But however, that didn't translate to three. Only shot 20% on pull-up threes. It was horrible. He couldn't shoot on pull-ups. Catch and shoots, not so bad, 38%. But it's just concerning. I think ultimately how high you are on Ben Saraf is how much you believe in A, the jump shot, and B, his ability to replicate some of the D-cell stuff in the NBA against better athletes.
Yeah, and the overall projection, because for me, that's what this is. You are 100% betting on the upside. And to some, 20 may be too high to bet on the upside. But I do think that there's something there to work with. Frankie, at 20, how are you feeling about Ben Saraf?
I think Lou likes him too much, so that's a red flag for me.
Okay, that's always a red flag for anyone.
No, he's definitely got some a lot to like. I think he's much more of a 2 than a 1. Like as far as like scoring, playmaking mindset, like he looks for his more than he's looking to set up others, which is fine. Like that's the modern NBA right now. But he, Chad's talking about his right hand and. He is very lefty dominant for sure. Big body, below the rim finisher. He does have I think he had 13 dunks on the season. So he does have some athleticism, but it's not going to be a lot in the half court. It's not a lot of, it's more, deceleration, pace, change of speed, and craftiness that he's going to use to get around. So it's a little bit more like older Goran than because of 100%. That he uses his body, his elbows well to get space and maneuver in those tight windows, which we see in the playoffs how important that is. And when you're facing playoff defenses, so that's a skill to like. But I worry about the shot. It needs work. The catch and shoot needs a lot of work. I think he shot 22% on unguarded threes or something. I forgot the exact. I didn't write that one down, but he's very lefty and he's skinny. He needs to get stronger. I don't know how that'll affect his game if he puts on some weight because he has a very slight build. So I don't know how much good weight he could get. So there's some things that to like, some things to be concerned about, but that's going to be every pick. I don't mind him being the pick if they like him. I see a lot to like, and I think if all the background stuff checks out, I could see why on the court you would like him.
Yeah. And just to add on to some things, somebody in the chat said find a clip of him going right. He drives right more than he drives left, if I'm being honest, per synergy, and he's better at driving right. So it's intriguing, but there are concerns aside from, the shot is just too slow. That's all it is to me. The jumper is too slow. He has to get too square to shoot it. But on unguarded threes, I got it up for you, Frankie. He shot 42%. So it wasn't bad. The pull-up was what was horrible for him this year. An interesting thing about him is I think out of all the guys that we've talked about up until this point, he's the best defender. It's not saying much because I don't think he's a great defender, but like I think he will survive.
He's willing.
Yeah, he's willing. He's the best team defender that we've talked about up until this point. Like he cuts passes off. He tags the roller really well. He can contest on closeouts. The length helps. The size helps.
I was going to ask, is that more a product of the length? Because I think the next guy we talk about is a better defender, but I'm just putting that out there.
No, yeah. I'm talking about the guys that we talked about until now. But
okay.
Yeah, definitely not a better defender than the next guy.
Okay.
But like just defensively, like he's really smart. High feel. One of the things that intrigues me about him is I don't think he needs to be a full-time point guard because he moves really well without the basketball. He cuts really well. His 45-degree cuts to the rim are really quick. One of the better cutters that we've talked about today. I think the best one up until now, if I'm being honest, maybe the next guy again, but it is what it is. There's a reason we're leaving him for last. Save the best for last. But Saraf in general, he's one of the guys that I've flip-flopped the most on. I don't know if I like him enough to take him at 20, but I don't dislike him enough to like there's something there.
I feel the exact same way, Lou. I feel the exact same way because there are days where I tell myself at 20, I could happily take Saraf. And then there's some days where I'm like, I don't know. There is a projection there. Is he still a year away from being a year away? I mean, there's things there that he needs to work on, but there is absolutely potential there. And again, I will say it. I comfortably will say it. Best passer in the draft.
Chat says, "No, this is making me like him less."
Well, I
Chat said, "Sold."
Yeah, I gotta try and sell everybody until we get to the actual guy that we like, which is next. I don't want to talk about Ben Saraf anymore. I just want to get to our personal favorite, my personal favorite. The reason we saved the best for last. We're going to the 6'3" freshman guard out of Michigan State, Mr. Jase Richardson. Yes, Richardson. That sounds familiar, right? Because he's the son of Jason Richardson. We are old as fuck, people. Let me tell you that. That is real bad. Okay, this is why I like him. We talked I kind of spilled the beans a little bit, but he's a two-way competitor. I think of the guys that we're talking about today, he is the best defender. Now, does that mean that he is a lockdown defender? No. He still needs work there, but he plays physical. He fights on defense. Yes, a smaller guard listed at 6'3". It's not really 6'3", okay? He's more like 6'1". But plays. Yeah, but he plays much bigger than that, okay? He was the Iverson Classic MVP. That is the Reebok tournament. Shout out to Reebok. Check out the show on Netflix. It's actually not that bad. He played through an ankle injury this season, which is kind of why he came on late. But then when he came on, he was like a rocket, and he ignited that team. And he can casually dunk from just inside the free throw line. That's right. The NBA blood in his veins runs strong. Franky, this is the guy that I'm the highest on. We have been watching him all year and talking about how he feels like a Heat guy. Tell me how you feel about Jase Richardson at 20.
So Jase measured pretty poorly, 6'1.5" without shoes. But one of the concerns for guys like the small guards is, do they play small? And Jase Richardson does not play small
at all.
He has a 6'6" wingspan, which is we don't have Ben Saraf's wingspan officially yet, but it's higher than Clayton's. It's the same as Kam Jones, who's 3 inches taller, and it's a little bit shorter than Traore's. He has a 2.5 standing reach, so he has a higher standing reach than Walter Clayton again. He is light 178 right now, but he's only 19 years old. Very talented prospect, super efficient, man. 54.5% from 2, 41.2% from 3, 83.6% from the line. Played his senior year at Columbus High School with the Boozer twins. So he's got some familiarity with Miami. He's excellent at spot ups, pick and roll ball handler, transition. He defends really hard, makes plays with his length and anticipation. He doesn't play small, like I said. He is lefty, and like a lot of people note how lefty dominant he is. But he goes left about 60% of the time on drives, but driving right had almost the exact same points per possession. Like, he's very good. He knows how to relocate. He knows how to play on or off the ball. He's better right now. He's more of a 2. He's really an unproven 1, but at his height, he's going to have to play some 1. And when he had to, when he played the 1 when his teammate was sick or hurt, he did a good job and showed a lot of flashes. And he's right now more of a, like, get pick and roll, handoff, and play, trying to get an advantage created for him. But with his feel, like, he makes some really quick touch passes. Like, he's ready to go. He knows what to do with the ball. When he's on or off the ball, he's ready to make a move and make the defense play. Like, he's just such a high feel guy that I really like him. And I mean, you see some of these clutch shots he hit all season. Like, he's just a guy super fun to watch. I don't know if he and the Heat have been linked to him. Greg Sylvander of 5 Reasons Sports has mentioned Kam Jones, Jase Richardson, and the guy we'll talk about next week, Rasheer Fleming, as guys that the Heat are looking at specifically.
Yeah, my thing with him is that I truthfully don't think he'll be there at 20. I don't think he should be there at 20, but again, you never know on draft night what teams are thinking. Lou, we said it earlier. Yes, he will be playing some point guard because of his size, but I think he's a straight up 2 guard. He can play on and off the ball, but I think his instincts are as a 2 guard. And that's what I love about his game more than anything. His instincts. When someone has been around professional basketball their entire life, it almost shows and it shines through their game. Let's not overhype the prospect though. Jase Richardson, if he's there at 20, that is because there are some flaws in his game. Can we get into some of those? And let's be loud about it. So hopefully it drops him down to 20 for us.
Yeah, no. Yeah. The biggest flaw in Jase Richardson is something he does. Like, it's something he can't control. It's that he's 6 foot, half an inch without shoes. That's his biggest flaw. Like, realistically, there's some playmaking concerns. Obviously, he didn't get the ball much. He played next to 2 other point guards. So even though he was listed at 6 with shoes, he's like a little bit, almost a hair under 6'2". Even with that being the case, he was guarding most 3s, like sometimes switching to 4s because he was asked to do those things.
Fearless. So, he's fearless. He's a dog.
Maybe something that generally is not like one of my biggest concerns with him is obviously his passing feel. Even though he's not a bad passer, he's just an unproven passer. And those are 2 different things. Just because a guy didn't get the opportunity to do something doesn't mean they can't do it. But he's like, it's hard to find something bad to say about him. Like, realistically, other than how many positions is he going to guard in the league, because he's going to be 6'2", 180. I think he plays heavier than 180, if I'm being honest. I was shocked he measured at 178. So I can only imagine once he gets maybe 10, 15 pounds and he's to the 190, low 190s, like, this guy he's going to be a problem to deal with because he chests guys up really well.
I thought he was bigger too, actually, than that.
Yeah, it shocked me. But my favorite stat when I'm talking about Jase Richardson is the following stat. He was 2nd in BPM in box plus minus out of every single freshman in college. He was just ahead of BJ Edgecombe and just behind Cooper Flag, right? Maybe he's good on one way. No. Let me just add to that. He was
in less games, Lou. And in less games.
Less minutes, too. 8th in offensive BPM for freshmen. 6th in defensive BPM. The only other prospect in college to be top 10 in those 2 stats was Cooper Flag. He is the definition of a 2-way player. Like, that's what he projects to be. And in a team that is stuck with so many guys who can only play on one side of the floor, he would be a godsend. Yes. Do I think he's going to be there at 20? Honestly, no. I've seen crazier shit happen. Like, the size thing is a concern. People are mocking him later and later, and it feels like maybe they know something we don't up until this point in terms of like what teams are reporting to them. But 69% at the rim is ridiculous for somebody who's 6'2". 69%. 57% of those are like unassisted. 46% on catch and shoot 3s. Like, what more in terms of off ball? he is the best off-ball mover we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Shit, he might be the best off-ball mover we're going to talk about this whole draft cycle, including wings.
Possibly. Yes. I'm with you on that.
And it's impressive because he can play now, right? And he can still develop the point guard aspect of his game when it's due time. Most of the time, anyways, if we're being honest, a lot of your like, you know, very few teams, their lead initiator is a point guard anymore. The Lucas of the world, you know, obviously Jokic initiates a lot. Yeah, Murray does so too, but like Tatum, Derek White, like it's a combination of guys. So if the size and him not wanting to initiate is a concern for you, it should be with this roster. But if this roster isn't going to win shit, so you're looking for guys to help you fix shit into the future and have all the pieces in place. If you happen to luck into one of these jumbo creators down the line, Jase Richardson will fit in fucking perfectly with them.
And Franky, something that we constantly talk about are the scouting workouts, the ones that are set up by the agencies. And that's where a lot of the intel and the draft ranges and all that gets solidified. And the reason that I bring that up is we have, and by we, I mean the Miami Heat, they have a very specific connection to CAA. That is the agency that repped Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh for many, many years. And Dwayne Wade still has a heavy hand in CAA running their basketball operations. So him being a CAA client, not saying that it pushes him to the Heat, but if anything, the Heat will have a very open dialogue of communication and hearing realistically where he's going to be in the draft. I only think that could help them in their evaluation of him.
Yeah, well, actually, Ben Saraf and Danny Wolf are also CAA clients.
Danny Wolf, I'm with. We're not talking about Ben Saraf right now.
I'm just adding to your point.
No, but that's good. That's good though. It is important to note because that stuff does matter. Like it's not that it's not going to be the outlier decision maker, right. The breaking decision, if you will, but who you can speak to that will give you real information.
There's a relationship
there. Is very essential.
100%. And I just want to add to that about Jase, like playing for Tom Izzo, who's a storied championship winning coach who, Jase's dad played for him. Jase's mom also played college basketball. So there's more lineage there for this Nepo baby.
Nice. That's a good one though. I like
but
it.
He's just has like a high feel that like Izzo really trusted as the season progressed. Like he gave more and more responsibility, and Jason took it and ran with it every single time he had that opportunity. He was clutch, big time shot maker. Like Lou said, he moves off the ball so fucking well in the zone. He was helping break down zones so much with his off ball movement, catching it in the high post, making the right reads, knows when to give it up, and help get high percentage shots. And not just BPM. I want to talk about the BPM stat. He was 16th in the country in BPM. Not just a freshman or anything. That's 16th in the country with every class included.
On every conference.
Yes. He was like, he would be one of the biggest outliers to not be a productive player.
Literally.
And that's I get the concerns and stuff. Absolutely. Like they're within reason. He has to prove the doubters wrong, but like I think there's doubters with every pick, and he's a guy I'm confident in and I'm very high on.
It's the natural instincts. It's everything about the guy says that he's someone you should bet on. And I feel like all of us want to bet on him at 20, but Lou, I just don't see him being there, man.
No. And one more, I just need to add this because
please.
So obviously Michigan, Michigan State, great. They had a run, like they made the tournament. They were a good team all season. Their point guard missed one game this season. That game was February 8th against Oregon. It was Jase Richardson's first start. He put up 29 points on 13 shot attempts in his first start. They ran through him in a game against Oregon like it was nobody's business. He was unfazed. He was 9 for 13 from the field, 8 for 9 from the free throw line. The more important number there for me is the 8 for 9 from the free throw line. Why? Because he got to the free throw line 9 times. Out of every player we've talked about today, he has the highest free throw rate by far. And you talk about translatable skill sets. If he can, hone this in and get to the line at the next level, it's only going to help him. We need somebody who can get us easy points. There's no point easier than one at the free throw line. So
absolutely,
I'm booking it if he's there at 20. I think, frankly, you want to be honest, I think the Heat are too. Like, I think if he's there at 20, the Heat are sprinting to make this pick.
Well, let's be honest, guys. We've had a draft beat chat all year, and Jase Richardson's name has been there all year. And this is when we were talking about guys at the 10 or 11 range. So yeah, we run up there if he's there at 20. It's also why I don't think he's going to be there, though. I just think that the natural instincts that he has in the game at such a young age. I mean, Tom Izzo trusting a freshman that didn't even start off the season healthy. That shit is rare. If he falls to 20, for me, it's a no-brainer. I don't want to speak for the rest of you guys, but it just feels like he's the guy.
If we're ranking them now,
yes, sorry, that's what I was trying to get to. Sorry.
No disrespect to Kam. I love Kam. I wish they had a second pick, a second round top 40 pick to take Kam, but I have Kam 5th. Clayton I have 4th, just because I think the defense is so poor, and I don't want to bet on that. Like, there's a very good chance where he's just a high scoring guard off the bench. And then the third pick, I probably lean Trayore a little bit. But it's very close between these top 3 guys. Like, you can talk me into any 3 of them, but I probably go Traore, then Saraf, then Jase, just off preference. If Traore or Saraf end up way better, it wouldn't surprise me either. But I just like Jase a little bit more. I just think the shooting is legitimate. Like, I don't think we talked enough about how elite of a shooter he is already. Quick trigger too, like gets a shot off on the move, on spot ups. Like, I think that skill set, like, I could see it being I think there's less of a chance Jase misses than the other 2.
Yeah. Ranking them, to me, the extremes are super easy. Jase is 1, Kam Jones is 5. Kam Jones, I would be upset if he was a pick at 20 realistically. Jase, I'd be thrilled if he was a pick. Then we're getting into the tier of like the questionable guys. I guess how I'm feeling. I think Traore for me is my 2. And then it's probably Saraf and then Clayton. I think it's interesting that me and Franky both ranked Clayton 4th, considering like I didn't even know what he thought of Clayton. So there's like no influencing or anything, but it's concerning. He does have some concerns. I think every poll I've seen,
the Gators.
Fuck the Gators. But aside from like every single poll I've seen on Twitter, ranking or putting anybody up, Walter Clayton is the heavy favorite. Like, it's Heat fans want this guy, and I
think those are just people that only watched the national championship.
We need to change this narrative. Like, truthfully, I think we do. Like, I think Saraf would be better. I think Traore would be better. No question, Jase would be better. Like, that shouldn't even be in contention. It's just, we need to push the Saraf Traore over Clayton for Miami agenda, because I don't see. I think if he gets here, honestly, I think that's their way of saying that Terry Rozier shit was a complete fuck up, and they're going to try to fix it with the player. Because watching him, I was like, oh, dude, he's going to take all of Terry's step back threes. Like, that's literally what I thought of. And that might be a win within itself, but, I don't want that.
Well, I totally agree with your rankings, Lou, down to the exact numbers. And hopefully Jase is there at 20. But, we'll see. We got only a couple more episodes until the draft. But for now, let's go ahead and wrap up this episode with a few questions. I see Franky's already got a couple lined up here. So, Wade fan, out of all the guards, who has the potential to be the best defender? I kind of gave away my answer earlier. I think Jase is, of these guys, the best defender. If we're talking guards overall, I'm going to go with my guy VJ. What do you guys say? Yeah,
I mean, if I had to give a top 3, I think I think Jase is probably one. Then it's like Saraf and Jones. I think Kam Jones is a better wing defender than he is a point guard defender due to the
Totally.
and so is Saraf. So like point of attack, the word is potential. Potential. I mean, I think Traore is probably 2 then in terms of potential point of attack defender because he's quick and he has really good hands. It's just, can he piece it together?
Frankie?
Yeah, I think the same. I think Jason Traore definitely have the most potential because of their wingspan as well. I like Cam's defense, underrated. Saraf is strong and smart. I think Clayton has the worst by far. Just the effort.
On the same page,
but I think the other 4, like I think especially because the other 4, I feel like they all will defend because they have to.
Mm-hmm.
I think they all have. I would rather take. If I had to bet on it, I think I would bet Jase though, just because I think he has the highest IQ out of all of them.
Yep.
All right. Next question comes from Mummy's Milk 14. Shout out Tyler Hero. Didn't know he was in the chat. How do you think these prospects will fit next to Hero? I didn't even know who was going there with the question. Okay, that's interesting. Frankie, why don't you take this one? How do you think these prospects will fit next to Hero? I would love to hear your answer.
I wonder why. I think Traore take some of the offensive pressure off of him. It eases him up a little bit. Defensively, Traore, can pick it up defensively, gain some strength, and I think there's a lot to like. I think there is some point of attack potential there, but it remains to be seen. Same with Jase. I think Jase on ball will can take some alleviate some pressure, can set him up, can fly off screens and move off the ball for him, get open. Defensively, I think he can potentially guard point of attack. So I'd like Jase there. Saraf, I like Saraf there too. Like Saraf is big, so helps with the size. So I think with Trayore and Saraf, the off-ball shooting questions will be an issue there, as well as Kam. As well, I forgot to mention Kam was like 36% from 3 for his career, but 67% from the line. So like how good of a shooter he is a big question mark. Clayton offensively, I think it's a dynamite fit next to Tyler because they're both elite shooters and respected shooters. I think the defense is so poor that Alex
exactly
Musibay would score 15 a game against them.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I don't want any of these guys next to Tyler. I think they're all great next to Davion Mitchell, though. But for the next question, I'm really curious. I want to hear Lou's answer on this one. Ryan is asking us, which skill do you see as the hardest to teach outside of speed? Now, we talked about, Nolan having the elite speed here. Can't teach that, but what can you teach?
Okay, the hardest skill to teach, I have 2. Outside of like any athletic stuff like that, you either have it or you don't. Like I don't think that's something you teach. That's something you got to work for. But like I don't think somebody teaching you how to be faster is going to make you faster. Touch in general, touch around the rim in particular. We've seen countless examples. Justice Winslow being a prime example. I personally saw Justice Winslow shooting like 30,000 fucking layups. Never got the touch right. Like it's something I think you either have it or you don't. I think you can improve it slightly, but I don't think it'll ever get to the point where it's going to be an elite skill. And the second one, which might be the first one, honestly, is just like passing feel. Like just in general.
Yeah.
Like especially for a point guard. Like for a point guard, like feel like
or even vision, like floor vision.
Yeah, like exactly. Like just knowing where the ball is supposed to go when, even if it doesn't result in a direct assist, and helping the team get a better look off in the long term. Like that's something that Kyle Lowry was exceptional with in Miami. Like even if it didn't lead to his assist, the ball popped a little bit more. And so those are probably the 2 hardest to teach. I think the easiest thing to teach, if I'm being very honest, is somebody how to shoot a 3-point ball. Like I think that is. We've seen it year after year. As long as the foundation is good, I think you can help them.
Really? Well, talk to Bam Adebayo. Which skill set do I think is the hardest to teach? I'm going to tell you right now. I think you got it wrong. The hardest to teach, heart. Mummy's Milk 14. His last question, because we got to wrap it up, is well over an hour, and I got to take Melody out. Do you think any would make rotation first year? Ooh, of the guys we talked about today, I'll tell you right now, Jase is playing out of the gate.
100%.
I think all of them would play, honestly,
because you have to.
I think the point guard position is so weak,
so bad.
But like as far as like finding like a, can you find like a average guy to play and take? Would they take minutes from these guys? I think Trayore is one of the more raw guys. I think if Kam was the pick, I think I think they would trust him to do so, but to play right away. I think Clayton is what they would see what they got, but I think the defensive questions would like lend him on the bench unless he's like killing it offensively. I think Saraf and Jase would play right away though.
Yeah.
Lou, what do you think?
I think the easiest fit is Jase, but realistically, I think the second easiest fit would be Ben Saraf in terms of like, I think he could play on or off the ball so he can have a role with Tyler and with Davion, and they might like, alternate roles in terms of depending on who's on the floor. I think Walter Clayton will play, like he'll make the rotation just because we need some kind of offense. I think the hardest guy to see minutes for, in my opinion, is Kam Jones. Or at least successful minutes. Like you'll probably play, but like Jesus Christ, like it might be rough,
You take
other than that, like Traore, I don't know.
Who gets more minutes, Kashad Johnson or Walter Clayton?
Well, Walter Clayton. Walter Clayton. If you like, Traore is going to be interesting because I can see Traore putting up 24 minutes a game. I can see Traore playing 24 total games. Like I can see both of these things happening just because it will so heavily depend on how well he can play in the summer league, and progress from summer league, from the day he's drafted till the day the season begins. His body improvement, the jumper, like the IQ, the defense, can he buy in?
Yeah.
So he's the toughest one to pin down, in my opinion.
I also think there's like if Trayore doesn't figure out a niche quickly, like he might not get the reps to maximize his talent.
It'll be Franky Garcia or whatever the fuck.
No, it's just like I think especially because the Heat have never really committed to like a development year. So I don't know if Trayore gets the reps to maximize his skill set here. If he doesn't like find like, hey, I can defend point of attack. You can't get me off the floor because I defend and I move the ball well offensively and I'm a threat to hit shots. Like I trust Saraf and Jase and the other guys a lot more to find a niche to hold on than I do Trayore. But I think Trayore might be worth it. Might end up having the most upside. Like there's definitely a world where he's the best player out of these guys.
I think he's probably, of the guys we talked about, maybe, and I hate using this, but biggest boomer bust of the guys we talked about, because the potential is there, but we haven't seen enough to know how much of it is real. Shout out Jack Alfonso, unofficial third member of the Stream Beat podcast, coming to you probably in December when we do the best of for the year. But he is saying the hardest skill to teach is buy-in, and I totally agree. That's what I mean when I say heart. And with that, we're going to wrap it up because we're well over an hour, and I need to go. My back hurts. I'm tired of this because you know why? Jase Richardson isn't going to be there, and whoever they do take is just going to end up being sent over to Houston.
Oh my God, shut up. Join us next week for another thrilling episode of DraftBeat, where we will talk about the wings. We're going to talk about small wings like Nee Clifford, and we're going to talk about some bigger wings that might scale up and play some five, like Rasheer Fleming.
We could have had Cooper Flag.
We appreciate you guys for listening, and most importantly,